Hello, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Yaloviani, would like to deliver an interesting thing, which is discussion method. So, do you know what is discussion method? Yes, discussion method included in the teaching method, in which the teaching method means that some strategies used to give the instructions to the students in the classroom. So the discussion method is a condition in which the students will talk about two or more persons in the classroom, and they will share their ideas, their thoughts, or their opinion about the problems that are delivered by the teacher. But before we hold the discussions, what is the thing that's really important and should be prepared before the class? Yes, there are two kinds of things that we need to prepare before we go into the classroom. First is speaking skills and listening skills. Very basic, very important. Yes, first speaking. Speaking is an ability to share our thoughts in order to make the listener are able to understand and hear our voice clearly and correctly. And the second one is listening. Listening skill is an ability in order to catch the point that delivered by the teacher and get the and able to make the conclusion and can deliver also what is the speaker talking, and we can deliver with our own words based on what we listen from the speakers before. Well, we're going to the second sections in which we want to talk about why we need to apply discussion in our class. So, there are three reasons why we need to apply this discussion method in our classroom. The first is from the student aspect, second is from the process aspect, and the third one is from the result aspect. We believe there are some kinds of students in the classroom because we cannot guarantee our students will be all of that is clever or all of that is lower, but we should facilitate those kind of students in which they should participate and they should know whether their time to listen or their time to speak. This is a problem that can broke the whole discussion when we pointed one student and then the students cannot answer or they are unable to answer it. So we as a teacher should let the students think, and we go to other students and then let the other students to talk first. And then, but remember, at the end of that, we need to come back and ask the opinion of that students, because we won't let the students behind, right? We should facilitate all and help whether the students isn't understand about the material or didn't catch another point from the other students. We need to elaborate more and help them to understand the material. The second one is the condition when the students is overactive or over taking the whole discussion in the classroom. Sometimes that students is kind of helpful to run the discussions well, but the discussion will not become a discussion between the students itself, but it will be more like the students and the teacher. As the example, I'm the teacher. The next one is when the students cannot respect to other students. Again and again, something that really strict here is just the rule to make sure all of the students participate, all of the students like to hear each other and to join the discussion to make the discussion well. We can like create a circle for the seats of the students, then make sure there is no students left behind or not included in that circle. So we make a circle. If we have a big discussions, if we have a small discussion, they can make their own circle with their groups. The second one is in the process. Like I said before, if the students making some noisy, it's no problem, but if they are too silent, it's also bad. So something that funny here is when we as a teacher should make sure that the discussion is going well. The class may be a bit noisy, but maybe sometimes it's silent, but we should make sure it's still connected each other. Like at the first time they were talking about the definitions, so they discuss about the definitions, and then they discuss about the steps, and then they discuss about the example, or they discuss about the problems in that material. So we should make sure they mastering all, or they are touch all of those points that we have planned before. Of course, I will talk about the preparation of the decisions. And the third one is about the result. Why the result is something that can be important on the reason why we need to apply this discussion method is the result can become a good result for the teacher if first students are able to understand the material. Second, the discussion is going well. I mean, the condition is very conducive for discussions. Third, there are no students left behind. So that's the result that very common and really need to concern if we want to help the discussion in our classroom. Well, moving on to the third one, and this is how we held the discussion itself. So the way we held the discussions is divided into three parts, in which the first is the before class, I mean this is the preparation time, and then the second one is the process, like when we held the discussions, and the third one is the closing itself. Let's talk one by one. So the first one is before class, like the preparation class. The first one is we need to know our students, like the characteristics of our students, the name of our students. We need to consider that, because when we have the discussion, when our students have some difficulties and we able to mention the name, they will feel that, oh, the teacher is pay attention to our discussion. So we are not held the discussion alone, but with our teacher and the facilitator, and still the teacher manage the discussion itself. The second one, we need to plan it. The important one, as a teacher, we need to plan like lesson plan. Mini lesson plan is okay, but if you can, the complex one is better. So what contains in lesson plan? Lesson plan will contain the subject of the material, and then the time we need for that one material, and then the third one is for what grade we want to teach, like our what is who is our students, and then the third one is what is the aim of our material, like the purpose of it, and then the strategies that we use, whether we use discussions or we use cooperative learning or we use inquiry or others method that chosen by the teacher. And then we should explain steps by steps, since from the opening maybe you want to use games or maybe you want to give pre-tasks, is up to the teacher itself. And the second one is in the main activity, you need to deliver the material. Is it you want to use the sentence, or you are directly use the discussion in this part, is also up to the teacher. So the teacher should organize the main activity to make the students are not bored to study, so they will increase their willingness to study itself. And then don't forget the closing activity, like when you will give the assignment for your students to conclude the material and make sure your students are able to understand the material at the end of the study. Well, after we prepare it, we're going to help the discussions. So there are some tips from me to help the discussion as well, and to make sure your students are willing to study. and make sure your students are motivated to study. So like in this strategy, you can use games like to move their body or to increase their concentration. It's up to you. It's also up to the kind of the students in your classroom. During the discussions, you also need to consider if all of the students are joined the discussions, and make sure all of the students have their own opportunities to speak. Like we should make a rule in order to make sure that like each student needs to speak about 2 minutes, and they should able to deliver their opinions, whatever it is, and one of them should be the writer. I mean, someone who concludes what is the result of the discussion they did. And then after that, we going to the third one, and that is the closing, and it should be smoothly. The closing will be like to just conclude and then give chance for the stage groups to deliver what is the result of the discussions, and then end the discussion. And there are some tips for teachers who want to deliver questions to the students. I mean, maybe it will be at the end of the discussions after the students discuss by themselves, and then at the end you held the big discussions with your students. It will be very fun, like you know whether whether they understand or not, and you deliver some questions. But there are some things that very tricky for teacher if they want to deliver some questions. The first thing, you must mix the questions. Mix the questions means that you must not deliver the questions in just very basic, like what do you think about this, what do you think about this. It's very common that your student will be bored at the end of the discussions. But if you mix the questions, like you add specific information, you consider the fact and the opinion, and then you compare the information, and then you take another sources to give more information, like more questions, and then you connect the problems with culture, connect the problem with social, or connect it to the economic one, and told them to think about the relation between them. It will increase their critical thinking, because nowadays we don't need only something like very basic, how do you spell it, how do you explain about globalization. But today we need something that more critical on what kind of solution that you can give, that you can prove to the world, to maybe not world, to the school, maybe to your environment, to your family, to decrease the globalization or to decrease the global warming based on the problem that given by the teacher. So that is very common. And the next one is, don't give yes or no question to your students. If you want to increase their critical thinking, it's better to use how and why questions. It will increase their critical thinking to find the reasons or to find the steps to solve the problem itself, not to just answer yes or no. And the next one is, give time for your students to think about the answer. So when you as a teacher deliver questions to your students, don't directly point at your students, because sometimes they are find some difficulties on vocabulary or maybe the structure of their sentences. So just give time for them to think about that. And there are 5 types of discussions. The first one is discussion clusters, panel discussions, debate, role discussions, and development discussions. So the first one is discussion clusters. What is discussion clusters? Discussion clusters is a small group discussions which consists of 4 until 6 persons, and there will be given 1 until 2 questions, and they need to discuss about it and collect the report. And then the second one is panel discussions. It's kinda something new for me because we really did it, because this panel discussions is when students divide into several panels, but each panel will be present one by one in front of the classroom. They need to help the big whole discussion with the rest of the students in the classroom. And one of them will be the leader of that and lead the discussion itself. The third one is debate. This is my favorite. Why? Because there will be 2 sides in which one of them will be the pros and then the second one will be the cons. So both of them and each member of that group, which consists of 3 persons, will be talking and have each limited time, maybe about 5 until 7 minutes, to talk about their opinion or their ideas or even their arguments, and the other should listen and give the opinion to tackle down or to against the opinion from the other sides. And at the end of the debate, there will be each speaker from each group to deliver. There are 1 speaker from each group, to deliver the summary of the debate itself, and it will be fun. And the third one is role playing. What is role playing? It's kind of like a drama. Like each student will be act like someone else, and they will know the characteristics, and they will know how to explain or how to act like somebody else. And I think it will very much if we use this kind of role playing in descriptions material. Like they can describe themselves, act like others. And the fifth one is development discussions. This discussions is for the large group, so it means they use the scientific method in which they do the research and then have a hypothesis, and then they consider the result itself, the findings, and then make a conclusion of that. Well, that's all material for today. See you on another occasion. Goodbye.